Good morning, everybody. Just a quick video here. We're going to be talking about surveyors. It's an early morning up here in northern Michigan. It's finally gotten sunny, but I was checking my emails this morning and we're going to go on a bit of a rant because yet again I have received an email asking a deluge of questions about surveyors, whether or not it's worth it, how do you find them, all that sort of stuff. And there's just no question at all whether or not you should get a survey if you're looking at buying a boat. Absolutely yes. Get a survey, get a survey, get a survey. The first question is it worth it? Okay, yeah, a survey can cost anywhere from $500 to $1,000 or sometimes even more depending on the boat. That money is money absolutely 100% well spent. There is a, a huge amount of stories that I've heard from all these people who bought boats. They're having super issues, lots of projects, all this unexpected stuff. And I always ask, did you get a survey? And the answer almost always is no. I've only actually had it happen once where somebody said, yeah, I got a survey, and the guy was terrible. And that is going to happen, but we're going to get into a few aspects of it, and hopefully this will be enough to convince anybody who's looking at purchasing a boat to absolutely 100% get that survey done. So think of it this way. You might be like an expert. You might have owned multiple boats, so you've got a pretty keen eye for issues and things like that. Well, if you get a bad diagnosis from a doctor, you're going to go ahead and the first thing you're going to do is get a second opinion. So, a surveyor, think of a surveyor as that second opinion, and that's going to help make sure that you see everything that person sees, and then all of a sudden you've got two sets of eyes on everything, and that's huge. So, even if you know a lot about boats or you think you do and you do your own projects, a surveyor is going to help just find every last little bit. And so even if you're good, it's always because they're the masters. Surveyors are absolutely wonderful at finding all these issues. That's all they do. That's what their purpose is. So there's really four things that I think are the biggest reasons for getting a surveyor, paying that money. And before I get into those, one of the things you might be saying to yourself, okay, well, I'm looking for a boat, but I'm looking at like 10 different boats. I got to get a survey on every single boat. That's like 10 grand. That's absolutely insane. I can't do that. You're not going to do that. If let's say you're looking at 10 different boats, what you're going to do is look at all 10 of those boats. You're going to figure out which one is the one that you're absolutely in love with, the gem that you've been looking for all your life. The adventure starts here with this beautiful vessel. That's the one that you're going to get the survey done on. That's the one that it's worth spending the money. The rest of them, no, you don't even worry about it. It's not like you take a surveyor with you everywhere you go. The surveyor is for that last step where you are literally ready to throw the money down. That's when you throttle back, pump the brakes, and you're going to go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. Four things, okay? Four things that happen with a surveyor. The first big thing is they are going to find everything. If they're a good surveyor, which most of them are, they're going to be able to find everything from engines to leaks to deck problems to bulkheads to anything and everything. There's so much. And again, that's what they do every single day. That's their job, is to look for problems with boats. So they're going to discover the issues that you might not see, so that when you do make the purchase, if you make the purchase, when you come out the other end, you know exactly what you're getting. You know what things need to be fixed, what extra money you might have to put into it. Now, speaking of that, the second thing that happens when you get a surveyor is it puts you in a much better position for when it comes to the negotiating table. So they've got their asking price. You're looking at it and you're like, well, it sounds like it's a pretty good deal, so I guess I'll pay that. If you've got a surveyor and all of a sudden now you have 5 or 6 issues that are going to need to be attended to, you can look at those issues and you can say, okay, that's going to cost 1,000, that's going to cost 1,000, that's going to cost 2,000. So there's 4 grand right there, and you can take that back to the cutting room table and say, hey, all right, I'm going to have to put this much money into it. So instead of 40 grand, I'm going to give you 40 or 36 grand. And you can work it like that. So it's going to essentially make you a better negotiator. In America, we're not a negotiating culture, so to speak, when it comes to like haggling prices. But this will give you the confidence to be able to go in and say, well, I'm going to have to pay this much after I buy this boat. So let's take that much off of the top. So it'll save you money right there. The third thing is a surveyor, just the mention of I want to get a survey will flush out bad owners. Owners that are trying to sell you a junk boat, a boat with issues, and they're trying to make sure you don't see them. A lot of boats out there, they have a saying, putting lipstick on a pig. Essentially, fresh coats of paint, all this sort of stuff, a nice dry, not rainy day, a warm start for an engine. There's all sorts of little tricks to make it seem like, oh, this boat's perfectly fine. And again, I hear story after story of, I got this boat and now I've got all this rot in the deck and I've got to cut this and that and I had no idea. Well, did you get a survey? No, didn't get a survey. So again, that's a huge, huge thing. When you flush out those owners, and I can remember when I was looking for a West sale, there was one in Ohio where I essentially came in and I looked at it and I was like, wow, I like this boat. Good price. Everything seems all right. I didn't really know what I was doing. I mentioned surveying, and at first he was like, oh, yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem. Then the next day, when it was like, well, I'm trying to schedule the surveyor to come out and everything, all of a sudden the owner got all catty and he was kind of like, well, I can't make it that day, and the schedules didn't match up, and this and that. And all of a sudden, I was just like, red flag, red flag. All I'm seeing is red flag. So essentially he was trying to cover up a lot of issues, and finally I was like, wow, if this guy's trying to avoid a survey, that means there are serious problems, and you walk right away. An owner that's inviting a survey on, especially from a surveyor that they don't know, that's a good sign. That's what you're looking for. Anybody trying to duck and dodge that, you want to steer clear of. So third thing is, it will flush out those bad owners and those bad boats. The last one, and probably the most important, it will save you money. And I know it's counterintuitive. You're going to spend $1,000 or whatever. How is that going to save you any money? Again, you get that surveyor, you find out exactly the condition of the boat. More often than not, you're going to find all the issues, which then can be subtracted from the actual asking price. And so you may spend 1,000, but you might save five, $10,000 when they find that the deck's got rot in it. And hey, you're a project guy, you want to go and fix all that sort of stuff. Great. Then you can at least still negotiate it down so that you don't have to pay top price for the boat and then all the cost of doing all the labor and getting all the materials. It's just a win-win. You're going to save money in the end when you pay to have a professional come in and look at the boat. Now, finding surveyors, this is always tricky. It's kind of a shrinking industry out there. There's not as many of them as there used to be. A lot of the older guys are retiring and stuff. So a big thing is going to be sort of leaning on referrals. Make sure you're not just listening to the yacht broker's referral, but talk to other people in the boatyard, talk to other people in the marina, search, find out, and then vet that surveyor. Talk to them. Ask them if they've got a few people that they've worked with. Any information that you can get about the surveyor, the better off you're going to be. It's just like if you were hiring an employee, because essentially for that half day or that day, that's exactly what you're doing. You're hiring an employee to come and help you do this thing and make sure this boat is great. So always try and find those referrals and talk to boatyards. They have surveyors coming in and out all the time, and typically they know who they are, and that's usually a good way to get them, okay? Don't ever go with, if the owner says, oh, I got a surveyor, try not to go with that. If you have to, then at least make sure you sit down and chat with them for a good long while before they actually you hand over any money. One other thing is make sure you get your own eyes on everything while the surveyor is there. Remember, you're paying this person to do this. So if you're going to be over their shoulder and you're looking and you're asking questions, that's fine. It might be annoying to them, but guess what? You're forking over like $1,000. That's a lot of money, and you might as well get all your money's worth. And essentially, a good surveyor will point things out to you, but you want to get your eyes on it because, hey, not every surveyor is going to be all that great. They might miss things. I've heard of sloppy surveyors that just miss all sorts of stuff. Case in point, some rotted bulkheads on a boat that I was recently on. There are big issues that can be missed, and all you're looking for rot, you're looking for rust, you're looking for corrosion, you're looking for leaks, you're looking for soft decks. Those are the big projects that can literally halt you in your tracks from thinking you're just going to set sail over the horizon to then you're stuck on that dock or in that boatyard covered in fiberglass dust, and the bills keep coming in from all the materials. So that's what you want to avoid, and that's what a surveyor is going to try and help you with. Remember, lastly, you're essentially buying a house. All right, but that house is going to be floating on the water. So if you get a boat, you don't get it inspected, you don't get the survey done, you're essentially at risk of buying this house that's sitting there floating that you might walk down to the marina one day and it's no longer floating. And now it's not like you just turn and walk away. You have to pay all the costs of removal and getting that boat out of the water and all that stuff. That's happened before as well. And it's a nightmare. So not only have you lost your boat, now you have to pay to dispose of it, and you're in a nightmare situation. And you know, without a doubt, that you should have got a survey before you did it. Good luck out there. Just trying to share some information. I know it's a bit of a rant, but I hear it all the time. Should I get a surveyor? The answer is absolutely yes. Thanks for watching, and like, share, and subscribe. Till next time.